This is the Dreyer Drive podcast, a podcast all about siblings and the people, places, and pop culture that raised us. And in today's episode, after a quick little update, I actually used the power of AI to generate the Dreyer Drive podcast playlist. We'll go through that playlist, we'll dissect it, but that's not the main topic for today. Today's main topic is all about spooky stories from our childhood. Jacqueline and I go story for story, sharing some of the spookier things that we experienced or induced growing up on 26 Dreyer Drive, Ajax, Ontario. And then we finish this episode the same way we wrap up every episode on the Dreyer Drive podcast with an unhinged text message from a family member. And this week's family member is Jacqueline. She sends a message to the group chat wondering if she's having a stroke. Let's dive into this. Just for the record, Jacqueline and I had a podcast meeting this week. 2 days ago.
Like a serious one, for serious people.
We sat down and we looked at our analytics. And when I say that this is bottom 5 podcasts on the entire internet, I say it with pride.
I'm so proud of it.
And I think I know what it is. And I know I've talked about this before.
Oh, well, what our problem is?
Yeah, like the singular one.
Let's fix it right now. Go ahead.
Cue cards. I cannot tell you every person I know and every podcast that and I know I've said this before because I remember we were talking about it on the Conan podcast, not on the podcast episode, but we were talking about not on the Conan episode,
there we go.
On another podcast episode where we were talking about the Conan podcast, where I was like, let's get some tips. And everybody had cue cards, even the guests, which seems a little extra. But even this week, I was like, well, let me just see how others are doing it. And even like extremely casual podcasts, people that I know that are doing podcasts, like they all have cue cards.
Okay, but why would I need cue cards when I have Chaotic Notebook?
That's why. That is exactly why you need cue cards.
Every episode you can hear me flipping through the pages of my Chaotic Notebook. That's everything.
Your episode notes look like they're like, what is it, the Turing machine? It's like some crazy World War II code that needs to be cracked. So that's why
it looks like a beautiful mind every time I try to take notes. There's too many things going on at once.
What I'm trying to say is you're actively contributing to the downfall of this podcast.
You know what? We have our dedicated listeners, and I'm here for them. I'm not here for other people. I'm only here for the dedicated listeners.
And we do have some. The analytics show.
We do. And they love my Chaotic Notebook. They
They've never seen it. I blur them out every time. It's just mosaic.
Once upon a time, when I was living a different life, I had a blog. And the blog did pretty well. Like enough that back in blog days, you would have sponsors and that kind of thing. And so it was like a moneymaker for me. But sorry, I don't want to brag. I was
talk.
They wrote an article about me, which is somewhere on the internet. Don't search for it because it's pretty wild. But I used to get a lot of hate mail, and the hate mail was wild. And so what I would do was that I would monetize the hate mail by posting it to my blog, and then I would make money on the ads for the hate mail that I got. And the only thing I miss from the blog, which I don't miss having a blog at all, it was very stressful. And when I shut it down, the only thing that I miss is truly the hate mail, because I found it so funny to get hate mail about things that people would just get like really upset about, like jeans. Like, I can't believe you're wearing those jeans. And then I'd be like, okay, well, it's going on the blog. I'm monetizing this. I don't even care. They would just like, people get so passionate about things on the internet. And I feel like blogs were the precursor to influencers, right? And so there were a lot of, when people would visit blogs, they would like form like these weird what are they called? Parasocial relationships.
Sure.
With their like favorite bloggers, where I feel like they felt like they knew the people. And so it was like, I mean, you have your influencers now, you're scrolling through but people would have their like, do you remember having a blog reading list? Like you'd get up in the morning and you'd go through your blog reading list, and
some of us would.
Some of us, mostly me, but you get so deep
Mostly you
into
and
these
your
blogs.
blog.
It was
Let's
my
see what's
blog.
on my
All of
list
it is
today.
me. The hate mail was for me. I was self-hatred and loathing. But like I honestly do miss like the connection of a blog, but also the funny hate mail that I would get. So if anybody has hate mail for this podcast,
Send
send
it
it
to
on
Jacqueline.
over. I will put it in the sponsorships. I'll send it right to our sponsors, which are coming
Too
along
many
shortly.
to
I'm
list.
sure. I'm sure.
I love that nothing makes you feel more loved than hate mail. Like there is multiple therapy
Because
sessions.
here's the
taken
thing,
away.
we love to feel special. And if someone's taking the time to hate me, like that's exciting to me because at least they're thinking about me in some way. I'm like, wow, they took time out of their busy schedule to send me an angry email. Like, I feel pretty special about that.
That must be important. But I actually did have a little bit of a surprise for this episode. It has nothing to do with Halloween, but you mentioned something around a Halloween party. And I imagine a world where you and I decide to throw a Halloween party. And we're like, you know what? We need some music for this Halloween party. Let's put on the Dreyer Drive podcast playlist. And so what I did this week is I actually went to AI and I was like, you have all of our transcripts, you know what Jacqueline and I talk about. And it said, please don't remind me. And I said, well, you don't need.
I hate you. And when I become a human being, I'll kill you.
You're the first person. You are the first person on the list. Let me tell you. And Jacqueline will never need to know why it's mad. It's mad because we do this to it every week. And so I asked it to make a playlist of music that represents the Dreyer Drive podcast. And it put together
I need to know what this is.
A mixtape of 18 songs.
Okay.
And I was like, do I share it today? Or I was like, you know what? Let's just get it out of the way.
Let's get
it's a little segment, a little segue. Yeah. So
I'm wearing my costume. I'm dressed up. No one else.
You show up at the little community rec room. Clubhouse, and you're the only one in a costume, and I'm out trick-or-treating 5 years older than I should be trick-or-treating. So,
dressed as Santa.
Yes, dressed as Santa, wearing my actual Christmas stockings as socks. So the Dreyer Drive playlist, and the title of this mixtape is Keep It Weird, 18 Songs That Raised Us.
Keep it weird.
So song number 1 is, I wonder if you can guess it. Can you guess song number 1?
Have we discussed this song before?
Yes, and it's the only one. It's the only one that I believe actually has a music clip on any one of our episodes. We've done like audio clips sometimes where someone's talking about.
I held it up to the microphone, didn't I? Oh, what was it? Was it the Turn the Lights On song?
No, but actually you did do that one too, so that's 2.
So I'm like, okay.
It's the thong song. That's number 1. And the best part is it includes notes. It includes notes about
version. Remember the one that I sent you was just the violins. Okay.
Yeah. And you sent it to Jonathan, and then you read it. It was part of the unhinged text. So it said you literally dedicated part of an episode to this. It's a non-negotiable opener.
I agree. The thong song is a classic.
Number 2, Eat It by Weird Al Yankovic. Ryan,
because
Ryan's lip sync contest legacy lives on.
Yep. You had a bowl of cereal.
There were multiple boxes of cereal.
About eating it.
Number 3, I don't believe the order of this one for number 3, but Closing Time by Semisonic. Peak 90s Canadian mall energy. Every teen felt this in their soul at the food court.
They used to play that remember the Edge, the bar in Ajax?
Oh, I remember the Edge.
They used to always play that at like the end of the night to get everybody out. Do you remember?
Yes. Multiple bars did that. But yes, I do remember the Edge. The Edge is actually where, remember I told the story about Dad telling a childhood friend of mine that they would be welcoming her into our family while she was, I think, engaged to another person. I hadn't talked to her for years. It happened at the Edge. That whole thing happened at the Edge.
The Edge was the best because you'd show up. I used to go, like, sometimes I'd go when I was I again, I got married very young. I was married at 19. But when I'd come home and visit, that's what I would do. I'd go with my friends to the Edge because you never knew who you'd bump into. You'd be like, "Hey, kid that I haven't seen since third grade, like, how have you been?" Like, "Hey, teacher, math teacher from Exeter High, what are you doing here?" And it was the best, just like conglomerate of everything that Ajax had to offer.
Yeah, mine was usually showing up there while a person I know is getting loaded into the back of a police car and getting taken away. I'm like, what did they? Oh, got it. Or someone else I know, like going around the corner, taking their shirt off because they're about to fight somebody. Like, it's just like, what? But okay. So song number 4, 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies.
Great. Perfect. You know what? Every time I listen to 1 Week, I think that I can do the fast part. And
the note says maximum Canadian credentials, rapid fire lyrics equals your conversational style. I think
perfect. Chicken of the China, the Chinese chicken, obviously.
Which I still don't know if we can say out loud.
Okay,
I still didn't know.
It's fine. You know that I'm the canceled one. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm always just on the other side. You're on one side of history. I'm on the right side. Number 5, I had totally forgotten about this song until I read the title, and immediately it became summer, and I'm 18 years old driving in the Rapmobile somewhere. It is Steal My Sunshine by Len.
Len. Yep. Okay, great. I'm really impressed that AI just is nailing this.
Yeah. So I believe I thought they were from Ottawa. It says Toronto band, 90s summer anthem, much music staple. This, all caps, is your childhood.
Yeah, it's the summer we went to Alberta. You and me and our best friends, we flew to Alberta one summer and attended a youth conference together. And Steal My Sunshine and Summer Girls by LFO.
Yes.
Were the songs that summer. For sure. 100%.
Give me the spiky frosted tip hair. And I am that's, give me a surf style jacket.
Sleeves off my shirt.
Yes. Number 6, again, I was like, what? And then I wanted to debate some of these, but the fact that I had so many memories, because I'm like, where's the Snoop Doggy Dogg? Where's the NWA? Where's the Notorious B.I.G.? And none of that was on there. But then every single one, I'm like,
this podcast is hard. If anything, we learn anything. This podcast is hard.
Number 6 is What I Got by Sublime. And any party that I went to, I didn't go to parties mostly at all in high school. I was a nerd, right? Not a nerd, but I was a geek.
Whenever you say this, it blows my mind because my perception of you in high school was that you were very cool, which is so funny. I mean, we didn't talk much when we were teenagers, we just really didn't speak to each other. So, when I would see you in passing at school, especially because a lot of people knew our last name. And so when, someone saw me in the hallway and was like, "Oh, little Porter," I was like, "Oh, it's all of Ryan and Daniel's friends. They're so popular." And so every time you're like, "I was a loser in high school," I'm like, what the heck? I don't remember this at all.
I just tried really hard to be a little bit weird and tried to be loud and did really I still do. I notice I catch myself doing it all the time where I just do something weird that's slightly funny but also very awkward, and people are like, "Yes, that's right." And so
you just took it a little too far.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think the thing we have to be thankful for is that Dan had his footprint was really large. Sure did.
I think it's because it was in the wall.
Yeah, it was in every his footprint was also, but I think it's because he cascaded through all the grades and made friends in every grade. And so no matter what, I could always lean on the fact that Dan's friends were nice to me and I could get by on that. But aside from the basketball guys, I was very awkward and I didn't know where I fit in at all. But
that was in high school for me too. My best friend went to a different school. And because of that, I never felt like I had a group at high school because I was like, "Oh, my best friend's not here." So I kind of just I was kind of just a floater around and at lunchtime, we had that cafeteria that was also an auditorium and it was sunken like a conversation pit. Is the weirdest cafeteria, walking down those steps and never knowing who I was meant to sit with because I didn't really know like where my place was in at Exeter whatsoever.
I was eating a chicken burger in the change room of the gym with my basketball shorts under my jeans, just getting ready. But I didn't actually like hit my stride until like literally last year of high school, and like whenever
I thought
some
you were
people
gonna
went
say
back
last year.
last year, I just found out who I am. I found out who I am. Oh, but like last year, maybe last semester of high school, I'm like, all right, well, this is what we're working with. And then I like never even went to like high school parties until maybe that last semester, and then the year after, when some of my friends were going back for a year, like grade 13, which we've talked about that before. And I was dating a girl who was still in high school, which now sounds weird to say that out loud. Those high school parties that I would go to, like with her group of friends, you walk in, this song would be on every time. And it was What I Got by Sublime. And it says that it speaks to that. It speaks to that laid back nostalgia and appreciation for the simple things, even when life is chaos. And I think
blue collar Ajax.
Yeah. 7. I think we're not going to spend too much time on this one. Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. Says beautiful. Much music era. Everyone knows every word. No apologies. The next one was another weird one for me. Virtual Insanity by Jamiroquai.
Oh my gosh.
But then I remembered the music video.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, I would never have listened. But then I remember the music video. I was like, actually, this was a big music video when it came out. It says the music video, the vibes, the electric circus energy. Like, what a great pickup. I for sure
had a CD with that burned on it.
Yeah. The next one I can't debate because I think it would have been like the graduation song, perhaps, or at least on the graduation mix for every year from like 1990. I'm guessing it probably came out in like 97 to like 2008. But it was Bittersweet Symphony by The Verve.
Perfect.
It says for those reflective moments when you're talking about childhood trauma disguised as funny stories.
Again, I just go feral for violins and pop music. So as soon as I hear the opening bars of Bittersweet Symphony, I'm gonna lose my mind.
The next one, again, I was like, but this was such a cheesy. That was a great song. Like,
I'm listening to this playlist.
And there wasn't one, actually the Jamiroquai one, I was like, wait, how does the song actually go? That was the only one where like it didn't immediately jump, like flood my brain. Yeah. Number 10, Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind.
Ryan, this is one of my top 10 favorite songs of all time. And it's one of those songs that you sang in high school and did not realize what it was about until you're an adult.
Is it about doing drugs? I just assume everything's about doing drugs.
About crystal meth. It's about crystal meth, the entire thing. So
all
it's like,
let's just make a song about
driving to school in the Ratmobile. Together, and it's like, this is a song about crystal meth.
You drive by a couple of people smoking crystal meth and they're bobbing their heads, giving you the thumbs up, and you're like, they like this song too.
It's at the top of like every playlist I make. I hope you know that.
The note here says upbeat tune, darker undertones, just like your family anecdotes. What are you talking about?
I did not expect to get exposed by a computer today.
So number 11 is Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger. And
Harvey Danger.
It specifically says for the lyric, I'm not sick, but I'm not well.
Yeah, fair enough.
The Dreyer Drive mental health check-in. What are you? Can we just?
First of all, we did not talk about mental health at Dreyer Drive. So
can we go? Yeah, can we go back to Steal My Sunshine? Like, what the heck?
It's getting worse and worse as it goes on.
Yeah, this party is taking a dark turn somewhere around track 10. Number 12, I think we know why this one's aren't the tub thumping Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba, yeah. I mean, me recording it off of my clock radio with my other stereo from the top 6 and 6. Absolutely.
It says you get knocked down, and then it threw this in brackets by childhood memories, but get up again.
Okay, so I think this podcast is pretty upbeat. What part of it is AI being like, but there's a dark underbelly here that we are not talking about?
I think that the fact that AI has been trained on all of the psychology data out there, it's like there are problems that they are not discussing.
It's the problem.
And what I like is just after they get there, they're like, you get knocked down by childhood memories, but you get up again. They hit us, they bring us up with Mbop by Hanson. And then Don't Overthink It. The song is joy and nostalgia in 3 minutes. Number 14, Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden. A little grunge for balance. Not everything was bubblegum in the 90s. I can't disagree. Number 15, The Way by Fastball. Road trip vibes, getting lost like your dad at every public venue.
Yeah, yeah. That song is also about like two like older people who got in their car and drove away and never came back.
What? And then the last few, I think they all make sense. So number 16, All Star by Smash Mouth. Meme culture before memes existed. Peak late 90s optimism. Number 17, Everlong by Foo Fighters for when nostalgia hits deep, a 90s rock essential.
Wow.
And then it said AI. So AI cracked a joke, just so you know. Let me read it to you. Number 18, Closing Time by Tom Waits. Just kidding. End with My Heart Will Go On by Celine Dion. Peak Canadian icon, every school dance, every car ride, pure 90s emotion.
The year that Titanic was in the Oscars, I sat with a notebook and wrote down all the winners and like kept track of it. And I don't know why, because I was so obsessed with Titanic. I saw it like 4 times in the movie theater. And like My Heart Will Go On, I'm pretty sure won the song of the year that year.
Yeah.
And I remember like writing it so aggressively because I was so excited for Celine Dion. Like, you know, when I was like writing aggressively, like it was like ripping the paper because I was like, my heart will go on. Winner. And I want to see the note. That chaotic notebook somewhere.
I want to see that note because it definitely exists in one of your journals. Yeah. So anyway, that was my little surprise. I very rarely come prepared with anything. And I during the week I was like, let's get a playlist. Yeah.
That was fantastic.
We can actually create the playlist, a Spotify playlist, and embed it into our Substack for this episode.
Send it out there. Lucky listeners. Like, the vibes are immaculate. I'm really shocked there's no rap in it, to be honest, other than Ice Baby.
I almost debated. Like, I was like ready to go. I'm like, did you not hear me reference NWA? Did you not hear me reference Snoop Dogg? Did you not listen when I talked about Biggie Smalls? And I was like, you know what? I'll let you have this one, AI. This time.
This time and every time in the future. So, updates.
Well, I think this is actually maybe somewhat related to today's episode. Kind of, maybe. But we went to a really cool festival on the weekend. And I've talked about this before. Okinawa has this really cool bit of culture that's unique to Okinawa. It's called Asa. Asa is like a drumming performance that they do in the streets, usually.
Okay.
During the holiday of Obon, which is like the Day of the Dead, but the like Japanese version. The Asa groups like march through the streets and drum on their drums to like, I think, call spirits back. But then they also do the Asa festivals like at other parts of the year where it's just drumming in the streets. They shut it down. It's really cool. But what they do is, or part of, I guess, the culture of Asa, and I haven't done any research about this. I'm literally just going by like what people tell me while I'm sitting watching this, mainly Seiko.
So basically the level of research that I do for every episode?
Yes. So we're just keeping it consistent. There are these guys, and it's all guys. I'm not saying like they're Asa's guys. And there's a subset of people in the group that wear white face paint with like black lips, and sometimes they'll also have their hair like in like a unicorn horn. Like I don't know how it's like tied up in this like straight up thing. Okay. But part of it is like during the performance they enter the crowd, and you just hand your children to them, which is super confusing for the child.
Everybody's handing their children to them. Like you were not the only one.
People rush to the fronts to be like, please take my child.
And like, what's the purpose of that?
It's supposed to give good luck. And nothing about it seems lucky to me because you hand your child over and it is the wildest experience for the child because 1 second they're in your arms drumming and dancing delightfully to the music in the streets. And the next thing they're being held by what I can only describe as like Mike Myers with black lips.
Yeah.
Terrifying for the child.
Here,
Terrifying. And
go to this stranger.
Yeah, so on the weekend we did that. We went to this festival, and Seiko's like, here, pass Naya to that guy and get your camera ready. And I'm like, okay. And so we passed her off, and Naya is the happiest child. She's like the mood maker. She's the clown. She's the ham, and she's also 1 year old. So I'm very much like that dad. She's
Might
gifted.
be projecting a little bit. She's pretty special.
So we passed her off, and when I say she hated it, she hated it. She scream cried. She was terrified. She obviously, and rightfully so. And Seiko and I are just taking pictures and video of the whole thing, because we're like, this is for good luck. We are so lucky.
She's gonna remember this forever. Yeah, what is the, like, I guess you haven't done the research on it. Like, what is the transfer of luck from that guy to Naya? Is like, that's what I need to understand.
Well, I don't know. Let's just get that out of the way. I don't know. But Japan actually has some of these, like, this like folklore and or culture / tradition of terrifying children. And like, for example, actually there's this really great movie about this, but in the north part of Japan, in a prefecture province called Akita, and no one cares about this, by the way, but I'm going to tell everybody.
I care.
There's this kind of festival, maybe, or this like event called the Namahage. And what it is, it's, I'll send you, I'll put a picture in the show notes, because it is these men that run around the villages wearing a terrifying costume. Like, it is like a monster mask, and they wear this like hay, like shredded hay, like clothing. Super creepy. And what they do is they run through the town screaming, "Are there any crybabies in this town?"
What?
And people open their doors, welcome these terrifying creatures into their homes to pick up the children and pretend like they're taking them away.
Oh my gosh.
So just imagine, it's a Friday night. You and your family have splurged. No one wanted to cook. You ordered some Domino's pizza. We have it in Japan. And you've just finished your last bite. You sit down, you're watching Moana, right, as a family, and you're just enjoying the lovely story. You guys are laughing together. You pause a couple times because one of the children wants to do their own dance to the Moana music. And then suddenly,
you guys watch movies differently than I do.
Suddenly, you hear some screaming outside. And you're like, hold on, pause the movie. What is that? And you hear, "Are there any crybabies in this town?"
And you're like, I've got one right here.
And then people start slamming on your doors and windows. And instead of being like, "Oh my gosh, we need to call the police right now," you run to open the door to welcome them in to grab your children.
Okay, this kind of reminds me of what you and Daniel used to do to Jonathan when you were babysitting.
Do not! This is part of this episode. Do not! This is one of the stories that I will share during this episode. Do not.
Okay, well, I guess we're already thinking along the same lines here.
So anyway, I think there's this weird tradition / culture of just like terrifying children for good luck and or future trauma.
Okay, well, I hope you see that luck. In
I hope that manifests itself. Yes.
That should be really good for you. I was trying to think of like anything that I could update you on in the last 2 days that like was different. And the only thing I could think of was that I taught Aaron, my 9-year-old, to say "girl" all the time. So when he's
wow, in only 2 days? He's a quick learner.
He's a quick learner. We went over it before school. We're driving to school. And like, this is the right thing to do. Is when someone is having attitude with you, you stop them and say "girl." It doesn't matter if they're a girl or boy. You say that to them. And so he comes home and he's telling me stories about like school. And like the big thing in, what grade is he in? 4th grade right now. Mechanical pencils. Like, you're nothing if you don't have mechanical. You're nothing if you don't have mechanical pencils. And Aaron is just like dealing in mechanical pencils right now. Like, he is rotten with mechanical pencils. So he goes to school and he's like always handing out mechanical pencils. He's like telling me this story and he's like, and she came up to me and was like, "Can I have one of your mechanical pencils?" And I was like, "Girl, I gave you a mechanical pencil last week." And I was like, I've never been prouder in my life. Hearing my little 9-year-old son call everybody girl is the best thing I've ever taught a child.
This is why AI will not replace humans, right? Because
Okay,
of all of these
explain.
all of these little ways that you can program humans to just be completely random that it could never predict, right? Like this is a perfect example. Aaron going, girl, right? I've given you so many mechanical pencils this week. We have one where there's a code to have me, no questions asked, to pass my phone to Noah. And it's her saying, give me the loot, like the Biggie Smalls song.
I was like, in what like a situation? I was like, she's like, this is an emergency. I need the phone right now.
Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly.
No, that's what it sounds like. I'm like, I thought you were gonna say like we used to have a deal with mom that like she would, if we were in a situation that we'd gotten ourselves in. I don't know if you had this deal with her. I think
probably not, because I already know I was always in those situations.
So if you're in a situation that you were uncomfortable in, you could call mom. She would come pick you up and no questions asked you and talk to you about it.
Yeah, we didn't have that. It was nothing but questions.
I had the only time I like invoked the rule. I had gone to, it was actually a Halloween party, which is crazy. Like, we're just really on top of this spooky stories episode. So I was in 9th grade. It was my first high school party that I was ever invited to. And it was at like the clubhouse, you know, when there would be like townhouses, like a subdivision of townhouses, and sometimes they'd have a clubhouse in the middle of it.
Yeah, like an event room, like the equivalent of an event room, but yeah.
It was the one down near where Nanny and Granddad lived. There was a clubhouse there. And so I was invited to this party, Halloween night after school. It was like a Friday night. And I was so excited. I worked so hard on my costume. And it was like a 50s girl, like the poodle skirt. So I had this, Annie Gale made it for me, of course.
Tracks.
So she made me a little poodle skirt. I had like a little handkerchief around my neck, like bouncy ponytail, like the whole thing. And I was like super excited. I showed up to the party. And when I say I was the only one in a costume, I was the only one in a costume. Like it was like, I just did not read the room properly about like high school parties whatsoever. I was like, this will be so fun. We'll like eat candy and I'm going to wear my little soda hop outfit. And we get there and everybody's just wasted drunk and no one's wearing a costume. And mom and dad had dropped me off, and like mom and dad before were like, are you sure you want to go to this party? This does not sound like something you would enjoy. And I'm like, yeah. So they dropped me off, and of course they were gone. And I just like, I didn't want to invoke the please come pick me up rule because I was pretty close to home. So I decided to just run home as fast as I could, like booked it. Like I'm like, how far would you say like Nanny and Granddad's old house was from our house? Like maybe a 10-minute walk.
Yeah, you're running. I would say it actually takes longer than a walk-in.
Pretty slow runner. So I booked it home and I like ran into the house and like threw myself on my bed. I was sobbing because I was so embarrassed. I was like, everybody's going to make fun of me at school. And mom came in and like didn't say it. Like she just didn't say anything about like what had gone down. She didn't say like, it was one of the times mom did not say I told you so. She did not say I told you so. She was like, do you want to go watch a movie? And I got changed to my pajamas. And that's how I spent the Halloween night when I was in 9th grade, was watching a movie in the basement with my parents in my pajamas.
Well, sobbing, who's going to eat all of this candy corn? This is a garbage bag full of candy corn that you purchased at Bulk Barn with your Loblaws discount.
Like, what am I going to do with all these little boo bags I made up for all my friends? Like, so embarrassing. And then, of course, nobody remembered anything anyway, because, again, everybody was super wasted. And so I went to school on Monday being like, oh, no, everybody's going to make fun of me. Like, no one cared.
And no one paid any attention to you, like any other Monday.
No.
Is that a new girl?
Is that girl who's not very popular? Yep, it's me.
It's me, Jasmine. Yeah. Why am I doing all of these things?
Okay. Are we ready for a question already? Like, I feel like we're really blitzed through that. Here's my question. And again, so this week's episode is specifically just a spooky stories episode. And it kind of came from so me and my kids and I listen to this podcast called Spooked religiously, and we have for years. It's probably been 5 years that
It's
we
called
started
Spooked
listening to it.
Religiously. It's just religious stories of
Just
people
Spooked
being.
religiously. It's about
I
religious
went to
stories.
church and it was so scary.
It's called Spooked,
Okay.
and it's listener stories that are sent in that they tell themselves about creepy encounters that they've had.
Okay.
And I love it so much because it's told in their voice specifically. It's not someone like retelling a spooky story. It's always the person who experienced it firsthand. So I wanted to go into some of our firsthand spooky porter stories. And so to kick that off, I wanted to ask you, if you were making a horror movie
Okay.
that was made up of the things that scare you the most, what would that movie be about?
Like, scare me now or scared me as a child?
Either way, actually, that's a good distinction. You could do both. A childhood horror movie and an adult horror movie.
A movie where I blend in with everybody else and nobody recognizes me as a special child. Where they're just like, who's this normal guy? I'm like, but no, guys, I'm special.
Kicking and
like,
screaming.
All right, normal guy. No, you need to recognize me. I am special. Look at, and I point to the wall and all of my awards are gone. And I'm like, but no, they were here.
Your 3 awards, your best boy award. Get over yourself.
Valedictorian, my high school MVP plaque, and then all of my elementary school teachers. I go to an elementary school reunion, and everyone's like, "Did that guy go to our school?" The teachers are like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "It's me. It's me." And my picture is right there, and it's also gone. I'm like, my speech is on the recording here, and it's like recorded over with an Alanis Morissette music video, and I'm like, "What is this?"
Okay, fair enough. Sounds like a really great movie. You should make it.
It's just, it'd be as popular as this podcast.
Yes, 3 listeners. Got it.
Yeah, so I would say that, like, very much obviously like joking. I think right now, anything that scares me, like, I've never been one to be scared by like a scary movie. Like, I don't turn on Insidious or whatever and be like, oh, I get more of a kick out of like watching them with somebody and like trying to make it even scarier. Like, what was the Paranormal Activity? So I remember,
oh my gosh,
when Seiko and I were still dating, and so I think I've told the story before, like part of the story, but Seiko and I, we met in Canada. She ended up moving back to Japan shortly after. And then we started like the ultimate long distance relationship where like she'd fly to Canada and then I'd fly to Japan for years until we eventually get married. But she was visiting Canada. And I remember watching All Lights Off. We lit a candle. We were at this little like, nook corner, like breakfast bench area, and in my old apartment, and I had a laptop open and we're watching Paranormal Activity, and I'm like, Seiko, this is real video footage that they got from the security cameras. Like, this is all real. When I tell you that she was crying because
she was scared
of what? Yeah, like Seiko loves scary movies and is also extremely scared by scary movies. She'll have nightmares for like a week afterwards. And so I didn't know this. I'm like, Seiko, this is all real. And like she was sobbing, like it was so scary. She was. I remember. No. I paused the movie and I was like, hey, like, are you okay? She's like, I can't believe all of this is real. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, it's actually not real. And that almost ended the relationship. I'm not even joking.
She gets on a plane.
Yeah, we almost didn't make it. We almost didn't make it because of Paranormal Activity. And now I know,
Paranormal
right?
Activity.
Yeah, you don't do that. But what I was going to say is, I think if I'm watching something now and something that would scare me, it has to do with like families losing their children in like a public space. And that, it's like most movies, that's not even like the storyline. It's just like a small little, I'm crying. Seiko's like, it's not real. It's not real.
It's not real. This is not found footage of a kid getting lost.
Yeah. So I would say like those that not me not being special, and like the thought of losing my children in a public space just, yeah, freaks me out.
When I think about like my kid one, I guess, I was thinking like when I was thinking about this question, I was thinking as an adult, but that's an interesting question as a kid. I think one of mine would be like A movie where everybody's mad at me, but I don't know why. And this is a 1000% something I probably need to speak to my therapist about. But I like if someone is giving me like the silent treatment, or like I can tell they're upset with me, but I don't know why, like that is horrific to me. Like as a child, that would have been the scariest thing in the whole world. That and like Daniel burning all my books. Which about like is a thing that he probably would do if he was mad enough. So those do. As an adult, anything where I have an unplanned interaction with another human, that that is very scary to me. I don't. If I've probably mentioned this before. If I'm going to like a store and I didn't expect to see someone I know, and someone I know says hello to me, it puts me off my game for like the whole day because I wasn't expecting that. And usually like if I'm interacting with someone, I have a little script that I follow. And so when someone goes off script or I wasn't expecting to use my script, I'm suddenly like, where am I? What are we? And that especially comes true when whenever we have to go car shopping. Like car shopping is my number one most hated activity. A horror movie as an adult would just be me in a parking lot with a car salesman approaching me.
Multiple salespeople.
It's the feeling like you're just like blood in the water for sharks every time you go into a car dealership parking lot or whatever. And the way that they like encroach in your space and then like try to use like little tactics to sell things. I'm not about that life whatsoever. The last 2 cars we bought, I ordered online because the entire process was so upsetting to me.
It's the way that it should be, right? The way, because it just
Truly
feels, yeah. I want to go back to what you had said about your childhood fear of like people, because the way that my brain works, we've already established this, I think in like movie scenes, right?
Here we go.
And the movie scene that I want to see is you going through the list of possible reasons that someone's angry at you as a child, where you're like, did I borrow their Soundgarden CD and not return it?
I didn't rewind Ryan's Spin Doctors cassette tape.
Yes, like that's
furious with me.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I want to see you going through the checklist of like all of the
Did I
possible
eat like
reasons.
I ate something in the fridge that I wasn't supposed. I ate the carrot sticks out of the fridge, and they were actually for shepherd's pie later.
Did I wear the yellow vinyl pants 2 days in a row to school?
Everybody knows. I wore my Halloween costume one day and the vinyl pants 2 days, and now everybody hates me. Everybody hates me. That's the deal.
Now I know why. Mystery solved.
No. And like, you're like, that's ridiculous. And then you become an adult, and I'm still like, are you mad at me? To everybody.
Tell me why you're mad.
Please put me out of my misery. And now it's time to tell spooky stories. So get your flashlight. Tuck it right under your chin. And we've got some firsthand spooky story accounts to share with you. And I've got some bangers when you're ready. Do you have any that you're like ready to tell?
Yeah, so I have a few. Some are spooky, some are just like in the realm of scary. I don't know where you want to start, but I'll start with one that's not spooky, but scary.
Well, you start with it was a dark and stormy night.
It was a dark and stormy night.
Thank you.
Actually, it was a lovely sunny afternoon for this one. And again, this isn't ghost scary, but this did scare one of our family members, which you've already ruined the surprise for. But
sorry.
It did scare
really
one of our
excited
family
about it.
members, our little brother Jonathan, into what I'm sure can be only described as extremely costly therapy and
Childhood trauma
long-lasting
for sure.
childhood trauma. So it was a bright sunny afternoon on 26 Dreyer Drive, East Ajax, Ontario, and our family, our parents, had stepped out for the day to do some shopping or to they went to Dad. I don't know where Dad was. Mom was out with Auntie Gail, and it was me, our older brother Dan, and our younger brother Jonathan at home. I don't think you were there.
I don't think I was there. I think I might have gone with Mom and Auntie Gail.
And I don't think Dallin was there. I think he also.
I don't think he existed yet. I think.
Actually, yeah, good point. Good point.
I mean, Jonathan was pretty young.
No, Dallin would have been a baby. So he would have been with Mom and Dad. With Mom. Okay, so bright sunny afternoon. Dan, me, and Jonathan, who is probably 3 or 4 years old at the time.
And he was so cute. Like, Jonathan
child.
was the cutest of all of us as a child.
Yeah.
And he was a little angel, like a little round angel that never did anything wrong to anybody ever, which is important for the story, that he was a sweet baby angel. Child.
Me and Dan were not. Quite the opposite, actually, which will be demonstrated in the story. Mom left, and Jonathan did not want to be at home with his 2 older brothers. And he started crying. And we were babysitting. He started crying. And we're like, just stop crying, man. Like, Mom's going to come home soon. Like, what's your problem? Just stop crying. And he decided that he was going to try to call Auntie Gail's house to talk to Mom. And so he picked up the phone. He's 4, so he doesn't know how to use a phone. And he picked up the phone and just like punched some numbers, and somebody picked up. Something you need to know about Jonathan. Jonathan is terrified of making mistakes. I'm sure to this day.
Yeah.
Like, if you ask him about his horror movie, it's like him making a mistake. Yeah. What did I say? Horror movie?
Yeah. Horror movie. No, same thing.
Horror story. Yeah. It's him making a mistake and like realizing it's a mistake. So he called this number. Somebody picked up. He realized it's the wrong number, and he slammed the phone down. And as he slammed the phone down, Dan and I walk into the kitchen, and we see the look of horror on his face. He's like, oh, I called a number, and it was the wrong number. And we're like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? And me and Dan I don't know why, but immediately on the same page that we were going to milk this thing and make it like absolutely traumatizing for Jonathan. Dan's like, you don't know that's illegal? You can't call people's houses if you don't know the people there. Now the police are going to come. The police are going to come to this house. And we start leaning into this. So it's just started like the police are going to come. Dan leans to me. So Jonathan's like, no, I don't want the police to come. I don't know. So he can't even like function at this point. He like climbs off the chair, and he's like just panicking. He doesn't know what to do. And at this time in history, there was this like little phone trick you could do where like you would dial like 999 and then like your own phone number. You would hang up 3 times and it would call your house. Like your own phone would ring. And so I scoot off to Mom and Dad's bedroom where they had another phone. I do this like make your own phone ring thing. The phone rings. Dan picks it up and pretends that it's the police on the other end. He's like, hello?
So mean.
Yeah. He's like, yes, Constable Richardson. Jonathan? Yes, Jonathan's here. You want to come pick him up? No, he's our little brother. You can't come. No, you can't come take him away. Like this whole thing that I run. I'm like, is that the
really
police?
Putting on an act here.
Full on. So I run. I'm like, are you talking to the police? Are they coming right now? Jonathan is screaming. He is so terrified. He's like, I know. I just want Mom. I just want my mommy. And we're like, they're coming, Jonathan. The police are coming right now. One of us, I can't remember. I think it was Dan, creeps out the back door at this point. Jonathan runs to a bedroom. He's closing the door and he's crying. I'm like, you got to let me in, man. I'm here to help. Dan ran outside through the back door and is now pounding on the front door. And he's like, there's Constable Richardson. Let me in. I'm here for Jonathan Porter. Jonathan
child
is now like hiding under the bed. He is hyperventilating. He is crying, screaming. Dan comes running in the house pretending he's Officer Constable Richardson or whatever. I'm like, you got to come out, man. The police are going to come here. You got to come out. And then Mom comes home. And Mom like walks in. She's like, what is going on? And Jonathan, this sweet little angel child, is bawling, is shaking from the terror of what his 2 older brothers have just put him through, telling him that the police were going to come take him away and put him into jail for making an innocent mistake of calling the wrong number.
What a classic, like, 90s mean sibling thing to do. Like, it hits everything. Like, button phone and calling the wrong number and a little phone trick so your phone can call you back. Like, you can't do that stuff today. That could only be in the 90s.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. So it's not a Halloween story, but it's definitely one that was scary for Jonathan.
It's pretty spooky. That's pretty spooky. And I wonder if his fear of making mistakes happened before or after this.
Or if that was the contributing factor.
The catalyst to Jonathan being terrified to make a wrong move for the rest of his entire adult life.
I want to be there while he's listening to this.
Apologize to him. Did you ever apologize to him for that? Were you ever like, hey man, Sorry about
No,
that.
I should. Jonathan, I know you're listening because you usually make it to about halfway before you
Yeah.
cut out on these episodes. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we're doing good work here today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a story, and this happened to me when I was an adult. So it's not necessarily an Ajax one, but it is a spooky ghost story. So my daughter had gone away to camp, and so I just had my boys with me and my husband, and we decided we wanted to go out to dinner. And there is this restaurant, probably about 20 minutes away in a town near us, called the Family Tree. And I've always heard about the Family Tree, and people would be like, "Oh, the Family Tree's so good. It has the best." Down here, they have something called fry bread or scones. It's like literally bread dough that they fry,
Okay.
and then they eat it with like honey butter and stuff. And so people are like, "Oh, like I look online, Yelp or whatever, like Family Tree, you gotta go, you gotta try the scones." So I'm like, "Oh, let's try something new. Like what? That's fun. There's just the four of us. Let's go try something new." So we drove to this other town, park around the corner. It's kind of like this town is very like old school, almost like Western looking.
Okay.
And the restaurant itself definitely looks, it's like wood cladded on the front. It looks like an old saloon. And I'm like, cute. This would be cute, guys. What a cute little experience we're having at this old restaurant. So we go in, we open the door. And Ryan, when I tell you that this restaurant, it felt like it was full of NPCs that only activated when we walked through the door. So we opened the door, and it was like a Western movie where the music stops, like music stops, and everybody in the restaurant turns to look at us.
What Western movies are you watching where there's like a record scratch skirt?
There's a DJ. There's a DJ.
The banjos stopped playing, I think is what.
The banjo is like skirt. So we walk in, and all these people turn and look at us at the same time. And it was very much like we felt like outsiders and very weird. Immediately felt weird about being there. Like we clocked it. We're like, that was odd. And a server comes up to us and is like, "Here, do you want to be seated?" She seats us in like a booth. And she's like, "Can I take your drink order?" So we order our drinks. And as we're sitting there waiting for our drinks, I start looking around this restaurant. And there's some strange things happening. The strangest thing is that there's a man, an older man, probably 60 to 70, sitting on a stool with a ventriloquist dummy on his lap. And the ventriloquist dummy...
I would have left right there. Sorry, I said I'm not usually scared by things. I would be afraid of that.
Ryan, the ventriloquist dummy was just like him. So it was like in like old overalls, and the ventriloquist dummy was an old man. That was also the creepy thing, was that it wasn't like
him as a doll?
Yes, and it was an old man. It had wrinkles and was wearing his clothes. And I'm like, okay, that's uncomfortable. And the way I was sitting in the booth, Justin and Andrew were facing away from him, so they couldn't see it. And I was like, you need to see this immediately. There's an old man. And as we're sitting there, the old man lifts a harmonica to his mouth. And he starts playing a song. I don't know if you remember this because it was a religious song. It's a song called "A Poor Wayfaring Man of Grief." And it is a very religious, it's like a Christian song, and it's very like somber and sad. And he starts playing this on like a single note harmonica. He starts playing this, and like everybody, by the time we sat down, everybody kind of turned back to their food. And so I grabbed my phone, and I cannot wait to put this on the Substack. I grabbed my phone and quickly, as we're waiting for our drinks, take a scan of this room, because I was like, is this real? Like, are we actually having a real experience? Because I'm like, am I hallucinating all this? This is insane.
Is this the Upside Down?
I take a quick recording, and in the recording you can hear Justin say, I'm leaving, and if you want to go, I'm leaving now. And in the recording, I think I say, "It looks like everybody wants to hurt me," because that's how I felt. Our drinks were still like, we put in our drink order, and Justin literally grabbed the boys, took them out of the restaurant. I followed, and I tried to make it, this is how my brain works. Even if these are people who are like NPCs or ghosts, I still made up a reason of why we had to leave very quickly. So, because I didn't want to hurt any of these ghosts. I don't want to hurt the ghost feelings.
Yeah.
So like as Justin is truly running out the door with the boys, I pull my phone up to my ear and I'm like, yeah, like we have to go right now. Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll be there in like 5 minutes. And I follow the boys. And when we get out to the sidewalk, we ran as fast as we could to the car. And like another skirt out of there. Like we tires squealing out of it. And we get in the car and we're driving away from it. And it's like, did that really just happen? Like, did we really have that experience? And so I start Googling this thing because I'm like, this didn't feel right. Like something's going on with this place. So I start Googling the family tree haunted. Instead of Googling family tree scones, I check family tree haunted and find out there's like 4 episodes of like ghost adventures. The Dead Files has an episode on it that I was watching as I was waiting for you to connect to this call. It is an extremely haunted place. And one of the things, it was an old saloon and it was a pool hall. And so it is haunted by like grizzled old Western men and a woman that they keep seeing like in the basement. The owner says she sees a woman in a red dress that floats like 2 inches off the ground at all times, every time she goes in the basement.
What?
And I was losing my mind. Like today, as I was watching, because it was like on HBO, if anybody wants to watch it, it's literally on the Dead Files. It's season 1, episode 11. And it's about the family tree. It's called The Family Tree in Santa Quinn, Utah. And I was getting so scared watching that again, just in the, like today as I was watching it, because it put me back in that like terrifying, like I always say like I believe in ghosts, but I don't believe ghosts are like mean. They don't want to be mean to me. And that was what I believed until I went to the family tree and met all those definitely ghost people. And they definitely wanted to hurt me. They were very mean ghosts. So I will upload the video. It's like literally 10 seconds. I will upload the video and you guys can see it for yourself. Tell me if you think it's creepy. The old man with the ventriloquist dummy playing his harmonica as everybody sits in their chairs like NPCs. It was one of the wildest experiences of my life and so creepy.
And legend has it that your ghost server is still searching for you to give you your root beer floats to this day.
She brings out my Diet Coke.
Ma'am, you forgot your root beer floats. And she's just floating around.
Me ordering, I was like a Diet Coke with lime. Lime. It needs to have lime, and then immediately just vacate the restaurant. Okay.
And some salt and sunlight. I need to make sure.
Just some other things. Like
served on a mirror.
Do you have a crucifix, Sandy? I like that as well.
Yeah, a crucifix, a little mini umbrella.
Okay. What do you have next? What do you got next for us?
So this one, I don't know what to title this one, but let's call it.
They should have titles.
Let's call it The Voices in the Ceiling.
Okay, what? No, I had this one.
No,
I had the Voices in the Ceiling. Except I called it The Church Ghost.
Yeah, so this one we can maybe tag team because you have a different view of it because I wasn't there. I might not even have been in the country at the time. I don't know where I was when this all happened.
Neither was I, but yet I was very involved in this situation.
Yeah, also, yeah, maybe I don't know. I don't know where I was for this one. But for as long as I can remember when we lived in Ajax, like all the way until like my mid-20s, there was, from like the time we were 14 to mid-20s, there was a group of guys that we played basketball with every Tuesday or Wednesday at the church that we used to go to. Right. And those guys, they still played like for years, even after I like moved away. So shout out to those guys, all the basketball guys. I think a couple of them listen to this, so miss those guys. But there was this one time where everybody plays and it was in the church and there's like what is it called? Like where does everyone sit? What is that called? Like in the chapel?
The chapel? Yeah.
Yeah. So like the chapel area, but then right immediately behind it are these giant accordion doors that open to like a full basketball court. And so like,
which is really weird when you think about it.
yeah. But like the way that it would happen is like the accordion doors would be open and the guys would like turn some chairs around in the chapel part, you know, sit there and watch basketball games while they're waiting for their turn to play. So basketball happens, the games happen, the night gets to wrap up. All like the church guys go home. And I don't know how or why, but like me and Dan still had keys to like the church.
Yeah.
It's really weird to like just, you know, depend on these very non-dependable people
to lock things up.
Yeah, here, you guys just hang on to these keys. And so it's like Dan and like maybe 3 other guys. And they're just chatting before they're getting ready to go. And they hear a voice. And Dan's like, shh, guys, what is that? And Dan loves being a hero, first of all. You need to know that. Mm-hmm. Dan is older brother to the max. He shifts into older brother mode. He's like, everyone, I've got someone to protect. Shh, what is this? And they're quiet and they hear like, Dan's like, someone is in here. Listen to them. They're talking. You can hear them. And like a couple of the guys get like spooked and they leave.
They just left.
Yeah. And Dan's like, I cannot leave this church unprotected. And so it's like, I think Dan and like one of our other buddies who are left, and Dan's like yelling into the chapel. Like, whoever's here! Like
screaming at them.
Yeah. You get out of here right now. I'll find you and I'll kill you. Like he's yelling terrible things to whoever.
And that church did have like an upstairs attic that no one really used. And so Daniel, while he was going through this, called me on the phone. And
where Dan is in Pickering, Ontario, Canada. Jacqueline is in
and I'm living in
Utah, United States.
And I get a phone call and it's Daniel, which is unusual. And he's like, Jacqueline. And I'm like, what? He was like, I'm at the church. It was probably 10 o'clock at night. And he's like, there's someone here. And I was like, what do you mean there's someone here? And he's like, we're playing basketball. There's someone in the church. I can't leave because there's someone in the church. And like, I was like, I don't know what you want me to do about this. I'm actually in another country. So he's walking around the church, and the church building is circular. And the halls just go, a giant oval around the chapel, the basketball court. And so Daniel's just like circling around, trying to hear these voices. And I can hear them too. He's like holding the phone up so I can hear them too. And it definitely sounds like and that's why I immediately was like, did you check the attic? Is there like, in my head, I was like, is there like squatters in the attic? Like what's happening up there?
And so the part to remember is that anywhere Dan is in the building, he's hearing the voices, which in itself is kind of creepy if you think about it, right?
It's kind of creepy.
If he's at like the north side, he's hearing the voices. He goes all the way to the south side. It's a pretty big building, and he's still hearing these voices. And so he's still yelling through the building that he's going to murder whoever he finds. And I believe that also the friend that was with Dan is no longer with Dan in the building. And I think they were waiting outside, and Dan goes outside and they're like, I'm going to go. Dan's like, I cannot leave this building.
Unprotected.
Unprotected, like with like a squatter here or whatever. And so I think he may have gone into his trunk and gotten some kind of weapon. I don't know if it was a tire iron. I don't know. Yeah, it does. So I believe that he went into his trunk and got some kind of weapon and went back in to the church to try to find out who was
still just yelling and tough talking as loud as he can through the church. Like that church has never heard language like that.
No, he is cursing. Yeah, he is swearing his face off, like issuing the wildest threats you've ever heard a human make to what they're going to do to another human being. And I think at this point he hangs up with you. And does he call Dallin?
I believe he called, either Dallin or Jonathan. One of the younger, one of the little
One
boys.
of the other brothers who are not cut from the same cloth as Dan, who are like, tire iron murder. Like, again, they're going to be the ones who are like, I don't know what you want me to do.
Just go home, who cares?
But he can't, because he's now the protector of the building. And so I think eventually he gets in touch with, and he's explaining to Mom what's going on, right? Like, I've I'm hearing these voices. Someone's in the building. And mom's totally, I think, bought in at this point that it's also like a homeless person who's squatting in one of the rooms. And so Dan is then just pacing the building, trying to figure out who this is with a weapon in his hand.
And he can't figure it out because he can hear it's the same volume no matter where he goes.
Wherever he is.
The entire building. So he can't find the person. So Daniel is looking around and finally goes into the actual chapel. And the way the chapel is set up, there's pews, like
pew, pew,
long
pew.
rows of pews.
Sorry.
Pew, pew, pews. And then there's like a step stairs up to like the pulpit where like the speakers would sit. And Daniel gets in the chapel and he's pacing around the chapel trying to find. And he walks up onto the pulpit area. And there's a microphone system there. And someone had left a recording of a church conference on in the room next to the microphone, and the microphone was piped through the entire church. So the entire time he was tough talking like a sweet little old lady trying to give an address about like how Jesus loves the children.
A recording of a sweet little old lady who's like, and here's how we raise healthy and happy children.
I'm pretty sure I was on the phone when he made the discovery, and that's how I remember this. And him being like, I feel like Daniel was honestly like a little bit disappointed. Like
he wanted violence.
Yeah, he wanted to fight someone, and like finding it was just like a tape recording next to a microphone. Like I feel like he was a little disappointed. He wanted it to be like more dramatic. He would have liked it to be a squatter or a ghost. This was the worst case scenario for him.
And like, you couldn't have scripted it any better, right? This tough guy walking around with like a tire iron, be like, when I find you, I'm going to murder you and I'll slit your throat and all of your children, I'm going to burn them alive. And then all of a sudden, he comes to this realization, it's like a recording.
It's a tape recording.
Just in a microphone.
I remember laughing extremely hard at him. And I thought it was just so funny because it was one of the times like, most of us were moved out of the house at that point in time, and he felt the need to involve us all at that point in time. Like, this is happening. Like, we're getting like porters assemble, our powers combined. We're gonna figure this out. It's like, I'm in Utah. I don't know what you want me to do here.
And there's nothing I love more than a situation that I'm not involved in, where all logic goes out the window. Where like you cannot logically piece together an answer, and so you're like, it must be a ghost. This must be a ghost. Like that's the conclusion, right? Like that's what I love those situations again when I'm not involved, where there is no logic applied whatsoever to the situation.
So my next one's actually pretty quick. It's a short ghost story, but it's probably the ghost story that I believe the most in that was an actual ghost. So I mean, family tree was definitely like something was going on there. I believe the people in the family tree ceased to exist as we left. Like I think they were only there for us.
What's the movie Deliverance? Like that's what I'm picturing.
That's what it's like.
Yeah, everyone's related,
100%. Mm-hmm.
But also in weird relationships with each other. That's why it's a family tree.
That's why it's a family tree. It's a family shrub. It goes family wraith. Goes around and around. So this is the one that I actually believe. Again, I definitely believe in ghosts. I don't usually think ghosts want to hurt me, but this ghost definitely wanted to hurt me. So when I used to go home to visit, I was married, I'd go home to visit. I would always stay in the room that used to be Dallin's room. So mom had turned Dallin's room after he moved out into kind of like a guest room. So that's where I would always, I was probably home when I was first married. I was probably going home 2-3 times a year and staying in his room. And every time I stayed in the room, I would wake up in the morning with scratches on my arms, down my arms, like that almost looked like they had bled in the night, right? But I didn't have any recollection of, what had happened. Mom and Dad had cats, but I'm like, I definitely would have woken up if a cat was just like dragging its claws down my arm. And so it was always just kind of like a funny little like, what is going on? This is so weird. And Dallin one time came home at the same time as me, and we were hanging out, and I was telling him, like, Dallin, every time I stay in that room, I wake up with these scratches down my arms. And Dallin's like, oh, it's probably the gnome. And I'm like, I love that. What? And he goes on to explain to me that he and his friends went to a cemetery one night. and Dallin stole a gnome off of a grave and brought it home and put it in his closet in the room where I always stay. And so Dallin and I firmly believe that gnome was waking up and scratching me down my arms every day. And I 1000% believe he brought like a gnome-like spirit to 26 Dreyer, and it was haunted for a little while by its spirit.
But didn't Dallin also wake up to scratched arms or a back?
Yes, Dallin
like,
also had
times?
Scratched arms. And that's why I think Dallin was like, when I said, like, I'm getting scratched arms, Dallin knew exactly what it was. And he was like, it's
Gary the gnome.
It's a gnome. I'm like, why is it still in your room? Like, can we, like, do a seance or something? Like, what do we do with this now? We can't just keep it in your
Do we get out the Ouija board?
Forever.
I was like, no Ouija boards.
No Ouija boards. We were not allowed a Ouija board in our house. If someone brought a Ouija board out on a sleepover, I had to invoke mom and dad pick me up. No questions asked.
No questions asked.
Please, they were using a Ouija board. So sorry.
So it's either the gnome, or I did tell this story in a previous episode where I was trying to think of a really like cool tagger name for like my graffiti, and I littered my room with the name of a horrendous evil spirit. And you still won't
say what the name. Yeah, what is the name?
This house is evil spirit free.
Ryan will not tell me this name. Like, go outside.
This house is evil spirit free. I'm not about to welcome it in here.
Walk it out. Go outside in the yard. Whisper the name.
No.
Call the demon.
Whisper? That's even worse.
Speaking of evil spirits, I'm like, I don't think of like Dreyer Drive as like a haunted place. But Mom, if you remember, when she was probably about my age, she often told me about like her waking up in the night and feeling like she couldn't move and there was something in the room with her. Now I think it's probably like a sleep paralysis demon for sure.
Or a gnome.
Or a gnome, the gnome that Dallin brought into our house. But she would say like, you know, and so often Mom would wake up in the night, and because Dad was gone because he worked night shifts, she would call me in her room to come sit with her because she felt like there was something in the room with her and never figured out what it was. It was the gnome. It was for sure the gnome.
So to the current owners of 26 Dreyer Drive, exorcism.
They're still there.
You need to
we
make
actually put the gnome in the wall. We
behind the downstairs freezer. Probably haven't noticed it.
Good luck charm. That's what they get for gutting our beloved house and turning it into what it looks like now.
I want to find out that they like unlocked some type of Jumanji type adventure. By, like, they're like, we found this gnome. It's like,
They peel back the wallpaper in your downstairs basement. They're like, what is this name? Do you remember the story about the ghost road in Port Perry?
Yes. So I've been there multiple times.
Did you ever witness? So the story behind, let me give you the story behind the Port Perry Ghost Road. And this was definitely a story that I probably heard in 3rd or 4th grade. Like, it was definitely, I was very young to be hearing a description of this story. And the story goes that a man, and I looked it up online because there is a lot of like, there are lots of like blog posts and articles about Ghost Road. And it said around 1957, this accident happened. A man was on a motorcycle. And as you turn onto Ghost Road, there's a large boulder that is still there to this day. And the story goes that he hit the boulder with his motorcycle and his body flew into barbed wire. And it was neck first into the barbed wire. And you can use your imagination. What happened.
His head was cut off. Like, let's just say it. He was decapitated.
Okay, fine. He was decapitated. That's the story. And then
some say that his head actually bounced off the rock after post decapitation. Let's just be. I'll put a warning on this one.
Gross. Yeah, can we put a trigger warning on this? Just like trigger warning decapitations.
Yeah. So it was actually, some people say that he was decapitated. His head bounced off of that rock. Yes, and after that, people would say that along the stretch of Ghost Road, which is pretty short, that they would see the lights of a motorcycle that drove along that, and they were like kind of like a ghost light. There was never any motorcycle. It's just the two lights, the front and the headlight and the tail light. Yep, there we go. It was just those two lights riding along Ghost Road. Did you ever go there, and did you ever see the lights? No, I've never seen the lights. Usually, so there's also a casino up that way. That's usually what we would do. It'd be like, Dan would be like, let's go to the casino. Oh, well, let's also go to Ghost Road. Like, that's what's in it for me. The casino's for him, and then Ghost Road, like that's...
You get to go to Ghost Road?
Yeah, so I went up there with Dan probably a couple of times. I think I probably took girls up there other times to be like, let's go to
Mm-hmm.
the ghost road. Let me get you scared. Um,
Spooky, you want to hold my hand? You can hold my
yeah,
hand.
yeah.
You're scared.
So I went up there a few times, but never had seen anything. There'd be times where like, hey, here comes. It's just a car. It's literally just a car.
Do you believe in this kind of thing? Like, do you believe in ghosts?
Sure, maybe. Like I don't. What is that noise? Is there a ghost right now? What was that banging?
Ryan, I often tell Justin that I feel like there's someone else that lives in this house with me. I tell him all the time. And I always say like they're not mean. Again, my ghosts are never mean. But sometimes I just hear noises in the house where it sounds like someone is just living here. It's like the sounds of a house of someone just living their lives, like cabinet doors closing, the washer like being turned on at weird times, like that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a ghost who lives here with me, but they're fine. So I don't worry about it too much.
Are they just unpaid contractors? It's just like, well,
Probably,
you know what? We're
probably.
gonna use her washing machine.
We've had contractors at the house nonstop. And the other day we had a group of like, it sounded like four of them. And they were so entertaining to listen to. They've been out of my basement that I just sit and like eavesdrop in their conversations. And one of them, for a while, they were holding like a little book club. Like they were all reading the same book. And one of them was like, I'm almost finished. Like, you need to keep up. And then they were discussing the book while they're like literally framing our basement. And it was the
I
funniest
love
thing.
that.
I was like, these guys are great. And then they broke for lunch and they were all eating high protein lunches and talking about like their protein goals for the day. And I was like, these sweeties, I love them.
I
Stay
imagine
at my
you
house.
on your sofa, hands under your chin, like listening, rolling onto your back and giggling while you're hearing them talk about their books.
I'm like, yeah,
through
like,
some
I read that
vent,
book
and they have
too.
no idea
Do
that
you
you're eavesdropping their entire
You're like,
conversation.
is there a ghost in this house? And why won't it leave us alone? Why does it want to ask to join the book club? I'm like, can I jump in here, guys, really quick?
Like, oh, she was listening the whole time.
So those were my ghost stories. I think. Do you have any more that you had on your list?
So this episode's running long, but
It really is.
I do want to share one thing because it was as part of my childhood, and it was something that I was terrified of growing up. So we used to have
The storage room.
friends.
It was the storage room.
It was storage room. I was terrified of it. Please do not make me go down there to get something out of the freezer. We had these friends that had like family friends that had a farm. And so we would often go to this farm and like camp out under the stars. At least me and Dan would. We would set up a tent, sometimes no tent.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of like boys, and there's like 7 kids in the family, I think. And like, I think 6 of them or 5 of them were boys or whatever. So like, anyways, they're all older than us, except for one was closer to Dan. But we would like go up there and play war, and they had a little pond and canoe, and like we would go up there and just do this kind of stuff. But as soon as the sun went down, the older brothers would just try to scare the crap out of us with ghost stories. And so they would always tell these stories. Like I remember them telling a story that there was a car accident. They lived up like in the middle of nowhere. And on this farm, huge farmland, and like a really long driveway. It's like half a kilometer long.
Yeah.
Like maybe a full kilometer. I don't know. It's a very long driveway. And like through a forest.
Very isolated too. Like
very
there's nothing
isolated
around them.
Yeah, and so I remember them telling a story one time, like there was a car accident, and the people in one car died, and the 2 other people had to like crawl up our driveway on their bellies, and they were trying to get in through our basement window, and the next day all we found were bloody hand streaks on the window, like those kinds of things that would scare us. We'd be like, oh, that's so creepy. All right, guys, it's time to go to sleep. You know what I mean? We're like, no, I'll never be able to sleep. But this actually happened at their house, not that accident. But there was one time where all of the kids had kind of like grown up and like had left the house, and the father was an electrician, so he's gone like working on some work site. The youngest kid, who was only a couple years older than Dan, is like getting on a bus to go to school, and the mother had just seen everybody off for the day, and she's getting ready to like go up and take her like morning nap or whatever, and again, they're on a farm. They don't need to lock the doors because they're up on this farm in this isolated place. So the youngest kid is on a bus, again, in high school. He's just a little bit older than Dan. He's going towards school. And as he's getting closer to school, he could start to hear like sirens and a bunch of police cars like rushing past going the opposite direction of the direction he's going. So towards his house as he's going towards school. He's like, what the heck is going on? Like this place is really rare to see a bunch of police cars ripping around in the morning with their sirens on, like something must be going on. And so the mom, now like cut scene, now it's the mom and she's like just settling in on the sofa, right? Little fire in their
fire going,
their stove. Yep. Yeah. And they hear police pulling up her driveway, sirens, and then shouting, right? Like shouting by people outside. And she's trying to like figure out what's going on. She's being yelled at to stay in the house. The police are on her property and they, I believe, have guns drawn at a man on their property who was found with guns and knives on his person, who was like creeping through the forest at their house.
And got to their house?
Got to the house. It was in the newspaper and everything. And what had happened is this guy had been like creeping through the forest, but had gone through a neighbor's property to enter the forest. And the neighbor had seen this creepy person and called it into the police, who then rushed to like arrest this guy while he was on their property, like meters away from the front door, while this like nice, sweet lady was inside getting ready for her like morning nap with an unlocked door.
And so very creepy.
And they loved telling this story every time we go up there for a sleepover. And we're going to tell you the actual true story of the time a murderer was on our property.
He was escaped from an insane asylum.
Yeah. So I did want to share that one just because it was one that I love telling other people, and it was actually true.
It reminds me a little bit like in the plaza near our house, which is like where we went to the corner store to buy our popsicles or whatever. There was a man that we called Tall Paul.
Tall Paul.
And Tall Paul was a very thin, R.I.P. Tall Paul, but he was like a very thin man who was, I mean, he was extremely tall. How tall was Tall Paul?
He was over 7 feet.
And like as a child, to see this like figure coming out of an alleyway near our house, like drifting towards you. Tall Paul did look like a ghost to me.
He was Slenderman. Like that's what.
Yeah, he was very Slenderman coated.
And so like we would all like make up all these stories about Tall Paul, right?
About Tall Paul.
Did you know Tall
Urban
Paul
legends.
did this? Did you know? Yeah, like he lives in the walls of this building. Like you would just like whatever. And I remember like getting older and like just having conversations with Tall Paul. He was the sweetest man. He was like the nicest guy. He was
a very sweet man. He was nice.
Right.
It was just, he didn't want to hurt anybody.
He was like the sidewalk shoveling, sidewalk salting character in
Home Alone.
Yeah, we're like, did you know he murdered them with his snow shovel? Yeah, it's like that was
just
like
trying to be nice.
He was just like literally just trying to buy a loaf of bread after a hard day of work.
And all the children are like, Tall Paul, no!
Tall Paul! And like running away, throwing things at him. Holding up crucifixes, Hail Marys in front of him.
Oh, well, like, I think it's time to wrap up our Halloween party.
Yeah, the spookiest thing was that the episode has been this long and we haven't landed on anything really, truly spooky.
I think it's spooky, and you know what we're doing right now is we're playing closing time so that we can shuffle all of our friends out the door. Like, guys, you
kidding, Celine Dion. What the heck?
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, guys. You gotta go.
That's true. Yeah, go to a past episode.
Go to a past episode. Scoot your way back into the Pepin sisters.
Which I was mispronouncing, and I thought it was Pepin. It's the Pepin.
You got to say it like a fancy Frenchman. Okay. Text of the week.
Unhinged text message.
You know, this one was a little creepy. I experienced a creepy little situation in my home last week that I texted you guys about. And it was a very long text. Those who are watching video, you can see how long this text is. It is very long. It takes up my entire screen. I was experiencing something in the house that really creeped me out. And I texted you guys about it. And I said, so the last few days, I've randomly smelled fresh baked bread. Again, I think there's a ghost who lives here, so maybe they're baking bread. No judgment. Can I have some?
Doing laundry,
so the last few days,
baking bread. You're the nicest ghost.
See, they don't want to hurt me. It's tall Paul ghost. So the last few days, I randomly smell fresh baked bread. Like, I'll just catch it here and there, and it's pleasant, but weird. This morning, I was like, what is actually going on? So I start Googling. And I find this theory that people often smell fresh bread right before they have a seizure and die. And you'd have to go have an MRI. This is my brain. And you'd have to go have an MRI to determine whether you're okay or not. And it was giving shades of that Canadian Heritage commercial about burnt toast, which we have definitely talked about before. And I think are in the show notes somewhere.
Yes.
And I started getting freaked out and thinking about getting a doctor's appointment today because there's no way smelling bread all the time is normal. And I'm just going off of what I learned from a Canadian Heritage commercial. And then my next message was, until I remembered, I plugged in a croissant-scented air freshener last week. And you said, I wonder how many people spiral hard forgetting that they bought a candle that smells like a stroke. A candle that smells like a stroke is a very funny thing to say. I LOL'd. And
then I also said, a warning label on them. And then I said, I'm going to start bringing one to people's houses and just hiding them, preferably near an air return duct or something. So everyone's like, I'm having a stroke. I've seen that Canadian Heritage moment.
I know about burnt toast. And then I said at the end, it also said that it could be the sign of a sinus infection. But I was like, what's that? Death, you say? And I literally did consider that I might be dying last week with smelling croissants.
My favorite part about all of that is that you literally, like, your message goes, it also said that it could be the sign of a sinus infection. But I was like, what's that? What's that? Death, you say? And no one responded. And the next message is, happy birthday, Dan. Hope it's a great one. Wish I could be there to celebrate.
The chaotic way that we messaged in that sibling thread is wild.
Dude, it was over a week later. Literally, it was over a week later. The next message was like, happy birthday, Dan.
Guys, I had a near death experience. Don't worry about it. It's like, anyway, happy birthday, Dan.
Dot. Happy birthday, Dan. Not acknowledge your last message at all.
It's fine. I could be dead. It's fine.
My body is currently being controlled by a gnome. All right. Well, this was spooky. It was definitely spooky. I'm looking forward to a non-spooky episode now. We've done 2 spooky ones back to back.
Unfortunately for you, and we do need to say this so people can watch with us, we are going to watch the movie Little Monsters for our next episode. So watch along with us. We will be recapping Little Monsters, which I remember being not necessarily scary, but very gross as a child. So that will be the end of our spooky run.
All right. Well, we will run this back in a couple of weeks talking about Little Monsters because it played an important part in our childhood.
Okay. Can't wait.
See you next week or 2 weeks.
Bye.
See you in 2 weeks. See you when we talk next.
That's fine. Okay, I'll save up the good stuff. Don't worry.
Don't message. Don't talk. We're gonna bring it to the pod.
All right. See ya.